We can no longer just say kids will be kids. It took a while for the laws to catch up, but kids and parents need to know certain acts of bullying are now punishable by law. Rania Mankarious is CEO of Crime Stoppers of Houston, and she joins us this morning. And Rania, we know that there are certain signs that a child might be bullied. They might not tell us, but they can be withdrawn, grades can drop, depressed, they don't want to go to school. What are some of the first steps we can take once we realize that the child has become a victim of bullying?
It's important to listen to your child, to believe them when they speak up, to intervene as a parent, both with the bully and with the school, and when necessary, get law enforcement involved. And we tell parents, look, be the investigator here. Take screenshots of everything, look in, gather evidence, gather data, and help rectify and remedy the situation.
Yeah, as you said, let the school know, because the school has a certain responsibility today as well, don't they?
Yeah, and it wasn't always the case, and we're thankful to the Molac family, David's law, David's legacy. David himself took his own life by suicide because he was the relentless victim of cyberbullying, and the laws have now changed. You can actually go ahead and fill out a simple form to get a temporary restraining order placed against the social media account. With cyberbullying, it's now a Class B misdemeanor or a Class A misdemeanor, where you have the intent to commit harm, self-harm, suicide. The victim is under 18 years of age, or you may have been convicted of cyberbullying before. We're now taking it seriously in Texas. Even if it doesn't happen on school grounds, the schools have the duty and the ability to respond.
I remember when I was a child, some kids were hurling racial slurs at me every morning when we walked to school, and I told my mom about it. And one morning, my mom got the keys, got in the car, she said, start walking, and she drove slowly beside me, and she looked over and said, is that them? I said, yes. She put the brakes on and walked over, and I was like, Mama, what are you doing? So here's one thing we want to make sure does not happen. As you said, talk to the bully's parents. If you can do that in a way where you think you can be civil, that's good. But parents, do not try to take matters into your own hands and take on the bully.
I've seen many parents do that on the softball field, unfortunately. And yes, we don't want this to turn aggressive or violent, but what we do want to do is recognize how significant it is. The self-harm numbers have gone up. Suicide amongst teens and young kids has gone up. Social media in general is the amplifier of everything that's good and everything that's bad. And it allows for a bully to do whatever they want in real time, repeatedly, anonymously, or in an open format. And so it really, really does amplify the actions, but that also amplifies the consequences for the victim. So it's important. Thank you for talking about it, and it's important that we act on it.
Yeah, you mentioned, like what can be done. Talk to your child. Even then, sometimes children, I guess they feel like they are, weak and they should stand up for themselves. But kids, oftentimes, I'm so surprised when I find out from parents that they didn't tell their parents for a long time, even when questioned. And so you've always been an advocate of, like you said, do the investigative work. Look at their social media. Go through all what's happening in their computer, because, don't feel like you're violating their privacy. You really could be saving their life.
Absolutely. And the worst thing that we've seen victims say is, well, I don't want to get punished myself. I don't want my parents to take me off of social media. And we get that, because kids, that's how they interact and engage and socialize. And we don't want to punish the victim in an effort to protect them by cutting them off social media. But parents, look, we can disagree and we can have long conversations about it. Anyone can reach me anytime. But I do believe it's incumbent upon us to be monitoring our kids' social media accounts and all of their online platforms. I always say, if they want to have secrets, they can write it in a diary. If they have a private text message going with their best friend on a traditional platform, I'm not saying to invade that necessarily, but social media accounts, you've got to dig deep. You've got to dive in. You've got to see what messages they're sending, receiving, posts that are being shared about them. Is there a fake profile about them that they don't know what to do about? They need us. They need an adult to help them. This is an extremely complicated area. It creates so many different responses in us, both physical and emotional, mental, and others. We've got to help our children navigate this really, really dangerous space.
Yes, absolutely. And sometimes you have to take really tough measures, but oftentimes when you just get the two parties in the room, or how many other parties are involved, and they talk to each other, get to know each other, it's amazing how many times they can really end up becoming friends. Rania, thank you very much for the work you all do.
That is exactly right, Deborah. The talking helps tremendously. Thank you so much for this.
Yeah, that thing called communication, I think.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. To report an anonymous tip to Crime Stoppers of Houston, you can call 713-222-TIPS. That works out to be 713-222-8477. For more information on Crime Stoppers, their speaker series and podcast, you can visit crime-stoppers.org. Also, many schools have a program where you can report bullying anonymously as well.